Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with the most important question on Reddit. Am I the bunghole? Let's dig in and find out. Am I the bunghole for kicking out toxic family members? I will hold my comments till the end. Thanksgiving Day. My sister-in-law came over on drugs. Unsure what she was on, but had their heroin lean. My husband wouldn't kick her out. We spent a whole week prior to Thanksgiving preparing for how to deal with different scenarios. Since sister-in-law is such a wild card, my husband doesn't handle conflict well. He wouldn't kick her out, told me not to ruin Thanksgiving as he wanted a happy family memory with his side of the family for a change. He said after the fact he prioritized his wish of having a great time with the rest of his family and no drama for once. If his sister was drugged up, she could pass out on the couch and not bother anyone. I didn't want her to OD in our home. I didn't want our children to see that. I felt so betrayed by my husband of 13 years. I can't even look at him the same. Choosing his family over our immediate family unit turned into a feeling for me that he cheated. How do I move on? Update. I appreciate the responses more than you know. Let's not read this, okay? So, I'm going to talk about this because this is something that I can talk about because I've got a great deal of experience in this. Several of my daughter's birthdays have been ruined. Several Thanksgivings have been ruined. And almost this last one, like, if y'all don't know now that Thanksgiving is my holiday. It is the only holiday that I really give two shits about. It is the only holiday that I celebrate to any extent whatsoever. It is about me giving thanks to my God, right? And I like to cook, I like to clean, I like to get my house ready. I like to have everybody here. And somebody showed up this past holiday, just past Thanksgiving, so intoxicated at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was 8 or 9 in the morning that they couldn't even really talk. And it did not get any better from that point forward. And like, that's my one day, and I almost lost my character. But I didn't, and that's important. We'll talk about that. So, I can understand your concerns. You are absolutely right to be concerned, and some boundaries need to be established. You need to have at least a very serious conversation with your husband about these boundaries. I would probably go as far as to suggest some marital counseling because there seems to be some communication issues. Now, when I read this and I see it says we had spent the whole week prior to Thanksgiving preparing for how to deal with different scenarios. I've got a feeling that was you doing the preparing and it wasn't necessarily him doing the preparing because he knows how the situation can go probably better than you do. And so what he did in this particular situation, I don't fault him for. Because you're never going to help somebody in the situation of being addicted to drugs by causing a scene while they're high and throwing them out to drive home. And like it's never going to end well. Now, I can absolutely understand not wanting someone to overdose in your home. That is a perfectly valid and acceptable thing. Not wanting them to do the drugs in your home. That is perfectly valid and acceptable. You need to set them boundaries. But by the time she's in the house and everybody's noticed that she's got the lean on, to do anything is going to cause conflict. It's going to cause conflict with her. It's going to cause conflict with the parents. It's going to cause conflict with the children who aren't even really involved. Instead, you let them do their thing. You let them pass out on the couch, and then you don't let them come back anymore. The next time, you make it very explicit that they are not invited until they are clean, until they can evidence that they're clean. And that's not necessarily you've got to go to a treatment plan and you've got to have 6 months sober and you've got to do these steps because that's not your spot. That's not your spot. Your spot is to say, hey, you have a problem and I can't enable your problem. By allowing you to come here like that or allowing you to do that here, I am enabling your problem and I will not do that anymore. You are no longer welcome to show up here in this state. And if you do, you will be denied entry. And then enforce it. Make it happen. The holiday was not necessarily the place to have the confrontation. So I'm not going to fault the husband. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. The feeling that he cheated, that is your insecurity. That is not him. He was trying to do what was best for all of his family, and you are part of his family, but he does have other family. Right? It is like, if it was your parents and your sister, it would be a different situation. I guarantee it. I guarantee you would be acting differently if that was your sister and not his. And so that is where a lot of this conflict comes from. You don't feel like there's something being done about her, and there should be something done about her. And there's nothing you can do about an addict. You have to show an addict enough love that they want to come up out of the hole that they're in. You've got to shine a light on them bright enough that they can find their way out of the darkness. You can't sit up here on your pedestal and be like, you're doing this thing, because that is never going to work. Ever. What you do is say, hey, look where I'm at. And not in words. You show, this is where I'm at. And you can be here too. And this is how you do it. And you help them to find a purpose in their life. Because if you're abusing drugs or alcohol or sex or video games or whatever it is you're abusing, you're doing it because you're lacking purpose. You do not have a definite goal in your life. You do not have anything to strive towards in your life. And what you need to do is figure out what you want to do. Now, if you are in the situation where you feel like you can judge somebody, what you need to do is sit down with them and help them figure out what they want out of their life. Help them figure out what is triggering them to fall back into the hole, and to give them a hand out of that hole instead of pushing them into the hole. Because creating a fuss at Thanksgiving, yeah, it's going to get them out of your house. Yeah, it's going to get everybody's blood pressure up, and it's going to cause all kinds of problems. But it's going to get them out of your house. But then you've got a whole different set of repercussions because you didn't help them find a light. You turned the fucking light off. And you got to stop doing that. We have to stop doing that. We have to stop turning the light off and instead turn on the fucking flashlight. How about that? Can we just light a fucking flashlight? Would that be okay? Hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to a not too difficult topic. It is not too difficult to not just shit on somebody because they're in a hole. If you're using heroin, you're in a hole. Like, you're not doing that shit because you're fucking happy. You're not doing that because it's the great thing to do. You're doing that so you can go into oblivion for a while because you hate where you are. So you need to help find where they can go. Help them find a passion. It can be anything. Drawing. Drawing is a great passion that a lot of heroin users get into. And if you can get them into drawing and coloring and distract them from the need to dive into a hole for a little while, help them figure out how to become an artist, help them figure out how to write a book, help them figure out how to go to work, and have a goal outside of, I'm just going to go to work and grind so that I can come home and sleep and go to work and grind. Because I'm going to give you the key to happiness right here in this video. You want to be happy for your entire life? Like, for your entire life. Find a goal. Find something that you want to accomplish. It does not have to be grand. You can want to accomplish building a bookshelf. You can do that. You can learn how to do that and do it well. And in learning how to do that and focusing on that purpose, then you don't focus on the mediocrity and the tedium of your everyday life. Because you can find a purpose outside of, I'm going to go and crunch these numbers and come home. I'm going to go and flip these burgers and come home. I'm going to go and do this cashier job and come home. Because that is a terrible way to live. Instead, set yourself a goal. I want to accomplish at this point. If you're a cashier, maybe you want to run a business. Maybe you don't want anything to do with retail ever again. But find yourself a goal, something that you want to accomplish. You might want to have a horse ranch in Montana. You might want to move to New Jersey and live on the shore. Like, whatever your goal happens to be, find it. Like, just spend an hour a day being like, man, what would I do if I could do anything in the world and I had free time and free money? What would I do? And then start working towards that, whatever that is. That does not mean quit your job and jump into anything by any means. but start working towards it. Set some plans in motion, because heroin use, alcohol abuse, all of the abuses come from a lack, and that lack is purpose. Like most of the time, like well over 80% of the time. The problem is that you don't have a definite purpose in your life. You feel like you're just in a hole, you're just in a rut, you're just on a grind. It's because you are not applying yourself. And that's hard to hear, but it is true. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me. I am praying for you every single day. Till next time, I love you. You're perfect, whole, and complete, just the way that you are. This has been Pittstake. Peace.